Boy, oh boy, do I have something exciting to share. So I figured this will probably be a once in a lifetime kind of opportunity, so might as well share it with you guys. And by the title of the video, I'm sure you can tell what we're doing and what we're looking at today. So let's get on the road. Let's go see it. It's about a 35-minute drive away. Let's get going. Can't forget the Crocs. I got the Simpsons, the essentials, sunglasses, phone, keys. Of course, can't forget the coffee. A little bit of trash duty before getting on the road. A little warning for the headphone users. I don't know how loud it's going to be on video, but in person it's pretty loud on cold start. So it is pretty loud, and because it's nice out, top's got to go down. No matter how many times you drive it, the V10 with an exhaust just never gets old, especially with the 8,700 RPM redline. It just screams. It's intoxicating. Here we are. It ain't much, but it's honest work. So let's go start right back at the street. Gonna give a good overview of the property. So here's, oh, let me get this to focus. Here's the property. I mean, you'll see that almost all of it is covered in trees, bushes, various plants. Most of that is going to come out, unfortunately, but I'll plant stuff in as I go. But this is the house that cost me a whopping $21,469. So we'll go take a look inside, but first let's do a little walk around of the exterior. So obviously this is a full gut renovation. Literally everything ground up is going to come out and get redone. So over here, we've got a separate entrance to the basement. All this sidewalk is gonna be torn out. New little patio area up there, step to the front door. In this yard here, the big, I believe, oak tree here is gonna stay, but all this is gonna come out. I'll do new flower beds, make it look pretty, and really brighten up the place a little bit. The driveway, don't mind the fire. I had a lot of brush to burn from bushes I cut out. Right here, cut a bush out, a tree, and then two big bushes over there to really open it up a little bit. But had to burn that here, and then there's a ton of scrap wood in the house. So this driveway is a decent length. I'm probably going to end up doing concrete with it. It'll just last longer, be less maintenance than the asphalt, and I mean, only half of it is asphalt to begin with. So really not missing out much there. Let's take a look inside, see what we're working with. So we got the door open. It's got the old doorbell, which I think is hilarious sounding. So here's the inside. Let me get some lights on. It's pretty dim. So you got that fantastic light. You got one over here. They're kind of all rigged up, but the house is already 80–90% gutted, so it saves a lot of work. And when we did the whole inspection process, it made looking at everything a lot easier. This is the kitchen area, and the crazy thing with this place is a lot of these appliances, like all the fixtures of the house are original. Like this is the original stove, fridge. He said we'll probably need a new coil, compressor, or something, but otherwise these things work, which is unreal because this house was built in 1964. This wall here was, he built this as temporary, so he still had a way to use a sink and whatnot. But not a huge house. It's 1,100 square feet. Was originally 3 bed, 1 bath. It'll probably end up being 2, but it's a great base to start with. So this load bearing wall will hopefully be able to come out, and I can make the best use of the space. Have a little kitchen over there, island here, and then some sort of dining area, living area, whatever it might be. And then back here, we've got another entrance to the house. This goes out into the backyard, which we'll get to in just a minute. Here we've got the dungeon of a basement. We'll switch here. These stairs are probably, what, 1.5 feet wide. Very solid, but sketchy if you're not looking where you're going. So down here, little basement den area. Because it is a split level, there's the crawl space under there. This wood burning stove is going to end up going in the garage, which I'm really excited for. But little area, not a ton of square footage. And then over here we get, it was the kind of laundry room and workshop area. So on here he had set up like a mounted bandsaw, he had drill presses, all his various tools, which I like this space. I might rebuild the workbench, kind of condense it back a little bit because it's very far into the space, but it's a pretty usable space. Now, crazy thing is this furnace is original to the house and it still functions, which nowadays to have large appliances, I guess, working that long after they're made is pretty incredible. This, I got to figure out kind of how I'm going to set it all up because it is a well system for the water. You got to have all the filtration and whatnot, but I'll probably put in a nice system because everything is coming out. Over here, it is an old 100 amp service in here, so hopefully, fingers crossed, I can get 300 into the house and then run a 100 amp sub panel into the garage so I can build that up how I want. Over here is that exterior door to the alternate entrance in the basement. And this, all this is so nasty. I can't wait to pull it all out, replace it. New doors, new windows, new everything. It'll look super nice. And a lot of this will probably either, it'll have to be cleaned up or completely redone, but then here's an exit to the street. Pretty nice. It'll be nice to have if I'm carrying heavy stuff into the house. So with the water softening systems, you have to carry in bags of salt, and as a kid I hated that. So being able to have an entrance that is less steps will be very convenient. So down here will be nice once it's done. The floor isn't very level or flat, so it'll probably end up just being carpet down here. Won't be a fully finished kind of livable space, but it'll all be I'll be drywall, painted, trim, blah, 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 and just a couch, TV, something useful to just sit and hang out. Let's go back up the stairs. Here we've got the stairs to the upper level, 6 of them, so it's about half a level. And right up here on the left, we've got the bathroom. Very, very 60s. I mean, as far as I know, this is all original to the house, and it looks it. I mean, this is kind of a mess to say the least. But regardless, it's all coming out. Probably end up doing nice big walk-in shower here. This is more or less wasted space, so this will come out and might do a closet by the front door under there, or a linen closet here next to the shower. Still to be determined, but that's the space we're working with. We got up there the attic. Come over here to the first little bedroom. Not a huge space, but it'll be perfect for, let's say, an office or a guest room. We got to figure out on the wall here what I'll do windows wise, because right here used to be a window, but when he built that overhang on the stairs to the basement, he had to remove the window. So by code, I believe we're gonna have to have more windows in here, but we'll figure that out. Nice little closet. And over here, we'll have what will be the master bedroom. This used to be 2 rooms, as you can see by the 2 doors, but he took down one of the walls to make it a large room, which I think is a lot better. Because with the size of the house and the layout, there wasn't much room for a master bedroom in a sense. But with this doubled up, I'll be able to have space over here for an attached bathroom, walk-in closet, whatever I want it to be. I feel like a attached bathroom over here would be great. Make it a 2-bed, 2-bath. Kind of probably block off this door, this be the main door to the room. Maybe a closet here, bed here, who knows. There's still time to figure it out, but it's a decent sized room. I mean, for a small house, I don't need much space. If it's just me, my girlfriend, it's just us 2. There's no pets, no kids, so really no need for a 3, 4, 5,000 square foot house. 1,100 will be plenty. So here's the interior space we're working with. Not a lot, but it'll be great, especially when I'm done with it. Now, let me find the right key for this, and we can go out back. Well, scratch that. It's already unlocked. So I presume the previous owner came to get more stuff out. But here's the backyard. It's a sizable yard. The lot is a 1/4 acre, so it's not gigantic, but it's still great size, especially for a little residential property. So right here, this whole patio is going to get torn out and redone, along with the sidewalk over here. So everything's getting new concrete all around the property. Nice thing with back here is he planted most of these trees throughout him living here. He purchased the house in 1984, and he took a lot of care for the plants and what he put in here. But at the same time, it became a bit much, at least for my taste. So a lot of these larger, more mature trees are going to stay, and then stuff like this will come out, this big bush will come out because it's just right in the center, taking up a lot of space. But one thing that's super cool is this tree here, he planted when he moved in here in the early 80s. So that one it's got a cool story. I mean, it's as old as his ownership of it. And I think it's a very pretty tree, so that will never leave. The garage has definitely seen better days. I mean, I don't think it's ever been a particularly good garage, but I've already started cutting out a lot of these junk bushes and trees. More of them are going to come out, open up this space a little bit, and then leave the majority of the backyard shaded, aside from the patio and this space over here. Ideally, with the garage, by code, I can make it up to 850 square feet. So it's currently 24 feet wide, 22 feet deep. So I can do 24 by 35 and some change. So ideally, it'll come from here to that tree over there. So it'll give me just about 2 cars deep, a little deeper, and 2.5 wide. So pretty deep garage, nice shed over here, pretty well insulated. It has, I mean, at least an extension cord run to it, so it's got power. But I mean, every square inch of this property is covered with some sort of plant, and it gets to be a bit too much. I get that back here, there's not a lot of stuff that can grow just because the shade, no sunlight, but I'll figure out something kind of make this not all dirt, I guess. But all these large trees will stay, make it kind of a shaded oasis. I mean, I do like the pine needles, so with a little bit of upkeep and getting rid of all the leaves, the sticks, everything, it'll be a nice place. Kind of tidy this up, get rid of all the weeds, and I mean, there's bushes starting to grow everywhere. But it's going to be a great place once it's done. It will be a lot of work. And here's the garage. Garage is 100% a tear down and redo. It was originally this tall, but then it was being raised up, and it's sitting on stacks of blocks. And then this inner structure here. So it's definitely not up to code or something I'd like to spend a lot of time in, but in here I have a lot of material that's gonna have to come out. I mean, there's tons of bags of concrete, wood, just different stuff for inside the house. But I mean, it is nice. He did leave me a lot of lawn equipment. It's like here I've got a weed whacker, lawnmower. There is what I'm really excited about is a log splitter. I mean, I don't know how often I'll use it, probably a lot cutting down the trees, but past that, it's just one of those things that's nice to have. And then in here, there actually are a couple motorcycles. So this one is Suzuki of some sort. I believe he said it was a GSXR. Really old one, but Suzuki GSXR nonetheless. And we've got, I believe he said this is a 79 CB750 with, if you look at the plate, this one was last on the road in 1990. And then over here we've got a CB550, last on the road in 86. But he said he's got the titles for these somewhere. He's just got to find them, and that they weren't parked for any particular reason. So in theory, they should be good and ready to work on. I mean, clean them up very thoroughly, replace probably every gasket in these things, but it's an old Honda. It should fire right up with some gas, air, and spark. That's all you need. But through this whole kind of temporary wall structure, you can see it's not in the greatest of shape. So, you know, you've got holes going to the outside there, and you know, every panel has a gap, so it's not truly sealed, but I'm surprised it hasn't degraded more than it has. At some point, I'll have to take this door off. He built a door that swings inwards, but it stopped being useful when this wall went in, because now the door can't open. So I'll have to take it off and then figure out what's going on with all this stuff. Thankfully, there's a lot of nice materials in here, so various ceramic and porcelain tiles, various decorative bricks, the bikes, and then there is a snow plow blade in here as well, which kind of surprised me. I don't know why there would be one, but it's there nonetheless, and I can find someone who wants to buy it and recoup some of my money. But up here is actually really nice. This is a big store sign that he took the colored face off of, and when this thing turns on, it lights up the whole garage. So that's actually pretty cool. I'll probably keep that. But yeah, not the best structure here, but it'll hold all this stuff till it's gone and rebuild the space. Okay, so story with this house is I grew up most of my childhood next door, so I've seen this house directly next door looking more or less how it does for a long time now. And as I've grown up to be an adult, I've started leaving notes, essentially saying, hey, I'm interested in the house. I know you don't live in it anymore, and I'd like to have the perfect start as a young adult. So I've left notes forever, never heard back, never got a no, so that's why I kept trying. And probably a month ago now, I saw him outside mowing the lawn. I was just about to drive past, and I figured, why not stop, just ask him. So put the car in reverse, backed up, waited for him to just see me and kind of get his attention. He came over and I basically said, hey, I've left notes for quite a while now, never heard back, so I just wanted to check while I see you here, do you want to sell the property? And he surprisingly said, yeah, I'd consider it, I'd like to get rid of it. So we got to talking, and it ended up being that now that houses in the neighborhood are transacting, he started having to deal with code enforcement, and they were getting on his back about the property looking the way it does. He had a couple more or less abandoned cars on the property. It just didn't sit well with the realtors who have to sell houses in the neighborhood. So I'm sure they called the building department, code enforcement, whatever it might be, and they started coming and giving hassle on it. So the primary thing that he needed to fix was the cars on the property, which he ended up scrapping them, and then the exterior of the house. So he needed to do siding, roofs, gutters, and between the house and the garage, he got a quote of all of that for $40,000. And he was getting ready to start that process and get that going, and then I came along and asked him. So he had said that the next day he would be free for a walkthrough of the property, kind of see what it looks like, see if it's something I want to take on. And I talked with my neighbor on the other side, and he has a construction company, does a lot more commercial than anything, but it's a good set of eyes to have look at it because he knows what I don't. So we coordinated a time, did a walkthrough, and because it's 80–90% gutted already, it made it very easy to look at the foundation, how the physical structure of the house is itself. I mean, it's pretty surprising. There's only, I think, 2 leaks in the roof that I've seen. There's one right here above me, and then I believe the other one is in one of the bedrooms up there. Once we made it to the backyard, started talking about it, I told him, I don't need an exact number, but do you know roughly what you'd like for it? He thought about it for a minute and said, I want to get out from under it, but I just have to decide how much. And it's about silent for a minute or two, and he had said I got the quote for $40,000 for the exteriors on both the structures, and I figure after I put that into it, that's what the lot's worth. So if I can not go through the time and hassle of that and have to spend the money on it, then I can just wash my hands of it and let it go. He came up with a number of $25,000, which, I mean, I have to admit is insane. It's kind of unbelievable, but with the state of it, it's understandable how someone could come to that conclusion, even though as it sits, it's worth significantly more than that. I feel like I'm lucky in the fact that he saw it as I want to live here and this be my home, which is the case. So I'm sure that played a factor into it, but this is more or less being handed six figures, which is an unbelievable opportunity for me. So with it being the base that it is, I'll probably spend $200, $250, maybe up to $300,000 to get it how it is, or how I want it, including nice driveway, nice sidewalks, patio, yard, garage extended, all the nice stuff. But once it's done, it'll be worth $450, maybe high fours. The house directly next door is significantly more square footage. So this one's 1,100 square feet. Next door, they finished the basement and got that included in the square footage. So it's listed as 3,000 square feet, but it sold for the mid to higher fives. I believe it was 555 to 570, somewhere in that range, which is just, that's insane for there to be a over $500,000 difference in what I paid and what that house sold for. Granted, it was fully renovated and whatnot, but directly down the block, handful of houses, smaller lot, same exact size house, lightly renovated, closed for $430. Other side of the block, one sold for $519, albeit a bit bigger. So the numbers make sense. Even if I have to spend the higher end of what I'm looking to do, it'll be worth it in the end. And in the current rental market, the mortgage, taxes, all that stuff together will be the same or a little less than renting a one-bedroom apartment in the Chicagoland area if you want to live in a pretty decent area. So that fact alone really makes me very happy. This whole thing would have never come about if I didn't just ask. If you don't ask, you don't know. So I buy and sell a lot of things, and it just became natural for me. If I see something that, oh, I think that looks cool, someone driving down the street with a truck that I like, just say, hey, have you considered selling it? You never know if they'll say yes, no, or whatever. More often than not, I get yeses. It was a little discouraging with this house after leaving typed up notes, written notes for years, never getting a reply, but I just didn't give up on it. And I saw him, so I figured, why not? It doesn't hurt. It'll take me a minute out of my day to do it. And here we are. I got a house for $25,000, and it being my first house, it's such a blessing. Build it how I want and come out of it pretty ahead and have a long-term home. So I'm excited for the process. The goal here is to kind of document the process of the design, the work that goes into it, although I'll be using a general contractor, because there is a lot of back-end stuff for a project like this. You need architects to come in here, and if we're changing how the load structure is of the roof by getting rid of load-bearing wall, you need engineer stamps on it, and even just down to the granular level of, oh, I want this trim, I want these windows, these fixtures, these appliances, cabinets, flooring, fucking shingle colors, what kind of concrete finish I want. It's just, there's so much that goes into it, and we'll see if I'm ready for that process, but I have the support around me to work through that, and we'll see where it goes. So I'll try to document as much as I can, document the costs of everything, kind of break down what it takes to do something like this with it being entirely ground up. It's more or less a new build with only thing staying is the physical structure. So we'll see where the future leads, and until next video, I'll see you guys.